It's that time. You're officially in Alert Zone. Welcome to the Alert Zone TV. I'm the Wizard Uncle James. I would love for you to become an active citizen in the Alert Zone. You guys already know how to do that. Um, I'm out. The public hunt land. Got my EDC with me. My Walter PK 380. Chamberlain 380 is loaded. So let's just not even. Shout out to Sci-Fair High School in Houston, Texas. Shout out to the football team. You guys did great this year. They was district champs. Shout out to my son who played on the team definitely, and will be graduating Sci-Fair High School next weekend. I'll definitely be in attendance. Uncle will be in the building down in Houston. So, with that being said, welcome to another episode of Never Again, the docuseries that we do here at the Alert Zone TV, because this is a worldwide movement. We like to educate people, so as you move around the world, you can kind of understand the places that you're going to. So, from somebody that's on the ground, you know, the mainstream media don't fund this channel. It's an unfunded channel. We don't have an agenda that we trying to push. Nobody's sending us out here to push a certain narrative. We just tell it how it is from the grassroots, from the ground up, you know. It has no corporate backing, and that's fine. With that being said, I wanted to talk about something because I had a thought about something that had happened, a person I met in my past. And for whatever reason, the thought of doing a episode about lynching in America came to. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and go forward with it. So, when you go online, they tell you it was about 4,400 lynchings in America after Reconstruction and Jim Crow, but that's not very, very factual at all. There was a lot of unreported lynchings. A lot of lynchings were called suicides or undetermined. There wasn't lynchings only on the plantation. There was lynchings long before the plantation of the native population. When we say native population, we just don't mean the red Indians. For a lot of you who don't know, a lot of Native Americans were black, black-skinned like me. All you got to do is research the 5 civilized tribes and how they voted the black Indians off. And if you know the real story of the Trail of Tears, you know, as the Indians was being, the red Native Americans were being marched westward. They marched westward with their black-owned slaves, yeah. But with that being said, when we think about lynching in America, black Americans come to mind because we have suffered the most horrific under this. I remember being strong enough that I was okay with learning the pros and cons of history, American history, the good and the bad. Lynching is a part of American history that now is being attacked. People don't want to talk about it, but it happened. You know, they say if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. With that being said, another inspiration for doing this is I don't want people to think that this stuff can't happen to them. It's still going on as I'm talking. Not only in this country, but across the world, people are being hung. Billie Holiday, rest her soul, was a singer during the Renaissance, and she sung a song called Strange Fruit. I'd love for you guys and girls after you see this to go out and listen to that particular song. Strange fruit was one of America's crops. Unfortunately, it was a horror crop. And for those of you who don't know what strange fruit means, strange fruit has the concept of black people hanging from trees. Listen to the song and it tells you about black bodies swinging in the poplar trees. And you know, Mississippi is basically poplar trees are all over the state of Mississippi, but we know that wasn't the only places that it took place. Lynching was a very, very vile thing that happened, and the culture around it. We're gonna expunge on that here. I'm gonna expunge on it, and it's gonna be very graphic. If you have children, they need to hear this. But lynching was used as a fear tactic when it got to black Americans, foundational black Americans. as a fear tactic. So it would always, people would be threatened with lynching. But there's more elements to lynching than just hanging people from trees. Because I'm a foundational black American and I grew up in Louisiana, and a lot of people, I met people throughout my lifetime that were old enough to live through those times. They talked to me, white and black, and they passed a lot of the stories down. Before a lot of the people were lynched, they were raped, sexually assaulted. They were beaten. They were humiliated. All types of things happened to the victims before they were finally hung. For those of you who say I'm pushing CRT and DEI, that's just a new phenomenon, and basically affirmative action, CRT, DEI is code word for black. Until, like the rest of you, I hadn't even known what CRT was until Christopher Rufo thought this up. But I have a book. I don't know how good you guys can see that picture, called Without Sanctuary. I want you to notice there's a black man hanging, there's a white man, there's his wife. This used to be the town's entertainment. I want you guys to see this. This is the opening page of the book, where you got all these people gathering at a lynching. You know, there's one in particular. Sorry, everybody, that I didn't get everything in order here. It's probably one of the most famous, infamous pictures of a lynching that ever happened here in America. It wasn't just reserved to black Americans, but we were the majority of it. It was almost a normal thing when they said lynching. For those of you who don't know, this particular horror happened in Omaha, Nebraska. This guy was shot over 1,000 times, then set on fire. They went in the courthouse to get him. He jumped out the window. When he was jumped out the window, this is what the end result. They all posed for a picture because he was accused of raping a white woman. Just giving you guys and girls the facts. I have to, for those of you who don't know, these pictures I'm showing you used to be on postcards. They used to put this on postcards and send it to people around the world. I'm gonna let you guys know about a story I had told to me that was very gruesome. I won't give the person's name, but I have the utmost respect for him because he came up to me and agreed. Here's a postcard. Sorry, I'm not sure how I got the front of the postcard, and this is what the back looked like. They're at a lynching. Goodness. I know it's in here. But I'm going to tell you guys a very gruesome story that needs to be told. But I'm going to tell it. And it's I want to show you guys another picture that's in this book. Bear with me, family. I'm sorry. Bear with me, everybody. Of what I talked about, the sexual assaults, as you can see, this guy has his pants pulled down before they lynched him. They had sex with the body before they lynched him. They brutally raped him and then hung him. Probably one of the most infamous pictures where is it? It's not this. I want you to see the history of this. I'm not sure how good you guys can see. Forgive me for that. I'm just sending you where to get the information. this this is really, 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 really bad. But we have to talk about it. When we say never again, we want to prevent things like this from happening. And if you say things never like this never happened before, then they bound to repeat themselves. Just like the Jews say never again about the Holocaust, we have the right to say never again about our treatment. I want you to see the scars on this man. This is from him being beat. This is him being sold at a slave auction. For those of you who know, I was born and raised in New Orleans. So I was born right off the Mississippi. And you guys know that was one of the major slave ports of the world. And it was where, here it is. This is probably, for me, one of the most infamous pictures I ever seen. And especially when I was a kid. This is at a lynching. I want you to see the little smile on this little girl's face. I want you guys to see that. When I tell you lynching is and was and still is an American horror story, we have to talk about this. It's unfortunate that it happened, but you can't move on from the past if you refuse to acknowledge that it even existed. I remember talking to a man that we used to call Blue Lincoln. I'll just leave it at that. He drove an old Lincoln. And one day he sat me down. He said, I was about 18 or 19 years old. He said, hey, let me talk to you for a minute. I hear a lot about you. I was doing road construction in New Orleans at the time. We just had a chit chat. He said, hey, I would like to have a conversation with you about something. Are you uncomfortable? I said, well, yeah, you know. So he seemed to be a real smart fella. He talked to me about, this was like in 1998, 99. He was already 80, so he was alive during these times. He talked to me about when he was a kid and a young man, how the town's festivities, if you say, would be to go to a lynching. He said he remembered when he was a kid going to people's houses that had mason jars with embalming fluid in different parts of black people's bodies. He was very graphic in describing he actually had went to a lynching where they lynched a guy. He was alive. And as his body was struggling, while he was alive, they were cutting parts of his body off. His toes, his fingers. He was very direct. He said the biggest piece that everybody would fight over when it was a male being lynched was his penis. And he said the bigger it was, the more they would fight over who was going to take it. I've met several people in my lifetime that told me they remember this vividly. Seeing body parts, seeing what they called the barbecues where they would tie us up, put us over an open fire pit and put you on a turning spigot, and they would roast people alive, and as the flesh would fall, people would grab it and take it for souvenirs. This is a part of American history. I'm aware up here in Iowa, I've been to the schools and what have you. Some of this stuff they've never heard of. But me being from Louisiana with people that are very direct, a lot of us know the stories, and we know it from people that was there. And he talked about how hate was taught in the home. He told me, he said, there's places in this country where there are no black people, and yet everybody knows all the black jokes, and everybody knows what to refer to y'all as, with the N-word. And as I got older, and especially when I started trucking and I moved away, I understood that. I hear that word up here in the state of Iowa, and yet there's hardly not even many black folks here. And yet they know this word. They know how to get together. When we say racism is gone, it's not true. Every time you look up, you see some high school kids or some middle school kids standing next to each other with t-shirts on with one letter that spells the N-word. Now let this be a teaching moment to everybody. Because none of us, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Jew, whatever else you want to call, are immune from this. If it happened before, it can happen again. It happened to the Jews. We hear about the ovens. It happened to us here in America. And people don't want to talk about it. Well, damn it, it is what it is. It happened, it existed. This is part of the most motivation of having everybody be armed, be legally armed. I don't care where you come from. What is your nationality, ethnicity, racial, religious makeup? I told you guys about our concentration camp on this series. That was the Devil's Punch Bowl. Now we're talking about strange fruit. Some of you guys and girls have never heard of the term strange fruit, but there's a song by Billie Holiday. I urge everybody, go out and listen to that song. Just listen to the words, whether you like what I'm talking about or not. Listen to the words of that song. It's very chilling. We who have been wronged by this American horror story have gotten legally armed to say never again. Lynchings was something that was family. The whole town was shut down to go to town square to watch this. The whole town. I just want to say rest on to all the people that were lynched. Being a foundational black American from the South, I even heard stories of white folks being lynched because they didn't have a hateful bone in their body. They were considered N-word lovers. I know of Italians and Irish people having their issues to an extent with lynching, not like ours, but having an issue nevertheless. We know of, hear of stories of Latinos, Mexicans at the time, Asians. It's happened. It continues to happen. I just want to say this. Get out here and protect yourself. Make sure that this don't happen to you. If you got to give your life up, fight for it. Go down swinging. Strange fruit is as American as apple pie. America created a dessert that it just doesn't want to serve up to the public. If apple pie is American, so is lynching. You got to take the bitter with the sweet. Thank you for tuning into the docuseries here. As I said again, this is the book called Without Sanctuary. Shout out to Mr. Bill Duke for recommending this book years ago. Our great actor, Bill Duke. These are authentic pictures. They're not recreated. They're not made up. Some of them have the actual story of what happened. Get a copy of this book, Without Sanctuary is what it's called. Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America. Without Sanctuary is a great and terrible book. It's an album of peacetime atrocities during which hundreds of Kodaks clicked. Richard Lako, Time Magazine. Hit me in the comment section. Let me know what you think about strange fruit. Lynchings in America. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, stay armed. This is part of the history. Stay on high alert.